In the days of old, before the great flood swept over the world, before the judgment of the Most High came upon the sons of men, there lived a righteous man chosen by God. He was wise, a great artificer, and the Lord looked upon him with favor. The Most High received him, so that he might behold the mysteries of the heavens, the uppermost dwelling places of God, and become an eyewitness to the wise, great, and unchanging realm of the Almighty. He was allowed to see the stations of the Lord's many-eyed servants, beings brighter than the sun the inaccessible throw. Me where the Lord sat in boundless light, the levels and manifestations of the elements in divine. All the various apparitions and the inexpressible singing of the cherubim. He witnessed the glory that no human eyes had ever seen. His name was Enoch, son of Jared, and he revealed the truth about the 10 heavens. The Lord brought him there, and all that he saw he recorded in the 2nd Book of Enoch. Now let us uncover his divine journey. At that time, he said, when my 165th year was complete, I begat my son Methuselah. After this, I lived 200 more years, and the total years of my life were 365. On the 1st day of the month, while alone in my house, I lay on my bed and slept. As I slept, great distress stirred in my heart, and I wept with my eyes while in the sleep. I could not understand this distress or what would come upon me. Then 2 men appeared to me exceedingly tall, unlike any I had ever seen on earth. Their faces shone like the sun. Their eyes were like blazing light, and fire came from their lips. Their clothing was majestic. Their appearance varied, robed in purple. Their wings were brighter than gold, and their hands whiter than snow. They stood at the head of my bed and called my name. I woke from sleep and saw them clearly. I greeted them and was overcome with fear. My face changed with terror. Then the men spoke to me, "Have courage, Enoch. Do not fear. The eternal God has sent us to you. Behold, today you shall ascend with us into heaven. Tell your sons and your household all that they must do without you on the earth in your house, and let no one seek you until the Lord returns you to them." I obeyed them quickly, left my house, and walked to the doors as instructed. I summoned my sons Methuselah, Regem, and God, and shared all the marvels those men had told me. Listen to me, my children. I do not know where I go or what will befall me. Therefore, I say to you, do not turn from God in the presence of the vain who made neither heaven nor earth. These shall perish, and so shall all who worship them. May the Lord strengthen your hearts to fear him. And now, my children, let no one seek me until the Lord brings me back to you. And it came to pass that after Enoch had spoken to his sons, the angels took him on their wings and lifted him into the 1st heaven, setting him upon the clouds. There I looked and looked again even higher, and I saw the ether. They placed me upon the 1st heaven and showed me a vast sea greater than the earthly oceans. They brought before me the elders and rulers of the stellar orders, and showed me 200 angels who govern the stars and perform their heavenly duties, flying with their wings and surrounding those who voyage. Looking down, I saw the treasuries of the snow and the angels who guarded their dreadful storehouses, and the clouds from which they came and into which they returned. Then they showed me the treasury of the dew, like the oil of olives, and its form resembled all the flowers of the earth. Many angels guarded these treasuries and demonstrated how they opened and closed them. Those men then took me and led me up into the 2nd heaven, where they showed me darkness darker than any earthly shadow. There I saw prisoners hanging, watching, and awaiting the great and boundless judgment. These angels were blacker than any darkness on earth, and wept without ceasing at all hours. I said to the men with me, "Why are they tormented without end?" They answered, "These are the apostates of God, who disobeyed his commandments and followed their own counsel. They turned away with their prince, who is also bound in the fifth heaven. I felt deep pity for them, and they greeted me, saying, "Man of God, pray to the Lord for us." And I replied, "Who am I, a mortal man, to pray for angels? I do not know where I go, what will happen to me, or who will pray for me." Then the men led me from that place and took me to the third heaven, placing me there. Looking downward, I saw the produce of that place abundant and good beyond all knowledge. I saw sweet flowering trees and their fruit, full of fragrance and flavor, overflowing with sweet-smelling delight. In the center of these trees stood the tree of life, upon which the Lord rests when he ascends to paradise. This tree was of indescribable goodness and fragrance, more adorned than anything in existence. All round it shone with a gold-like fire and vermilion glow. It bore every kind of fruit. Its roots reached to the edge of the earth, planted in the garden at the world's end. Paradise lay between corruptibility and incorruptibility. To springs flowed from that place, one of honey and milk, the other of oil and wine. These streams divided into 4 pots, flowing gently through the paradise of Eden, nestled between corruption and incorruption. And so they go forth across the earth, following the revolution of their circle, just as the other elements do. In this place, no tree is unfruitful, and every part of it is blessed. 300 radiant angels guard the garden, offering sweet, ceaseless singing and serving the Lord with voices that never fall silent through every hour of every day. I said, "How very sweet is this place?" And the men replied, "This place, O Enoch, is prepared for the righteous, those who endure all manner of offense from souls who provoke them, those who turn their eyes from iniquity and judge justly, those who feed the hungry, clothe the naked, raise the fallen, help injured orphans, and walk blameless before the Lord's face, serving him alone. For them, this place is set aside as an eternal inheritance." Then those 2 men led me up to the northern side and revealed a dreadful place. There were all kinds of torches, cruel darkness, and unlit gloom. There was no light, only murky fire endlessly burning. A fiery river flowed through it, and the entire place blazed. Yet ice and frost also haunted it, bringing thirst and shivering. The bonds there were cruel, and the angel fearsome and pitiless, wielding angry weapons and delivering harsh torments. I said, "Woe, woe, how terrible is this place?" And the men said, "This place, O Enoch, is prepared for those who dishonor God, those who on earth sin against nature in corrupting. Children like the ancient myths, those who practice magic, enchantments, devilish witchcrafts, those who boast of wickedness, who steal, lie, bring calamity, spread envy, hatred, fornication, and murder. Those are caused who rob men's souls, those who, upon seeing the poor, strip away their goods and enrich themselves, injuring others for profit, those who could feed the hungry but let them starve, or clothe the naked but leave them to freeze, those who did not know their Creator and bowed to lifeless idols, gods who can neither see nor hear, gods of stone and clay, crafted by human hands. This place is their eternal inheritance. Next, the men took me up to the 4th heaven and showed me all the movements and radiant beams of the sun and moon. I measured their pots and compared their light. The sun's brilliance was greater than the moon's. Its will turned like the wind, moving with marvelous speed and without rest, day or night. For great stars accompanied its course, and under each of those stars were 1,000 smaller stars, for to the sun's right and for to its left. Altogether, 1,000 stars went with the sun every day. 15 myriads of angels attended, and by night 1,000 winged ones go forth with the angels before the sun's will into fiery flames. 100 angels ignite the sun and keep it burning. I saw flying creatures of the sun called phoenixes and colcodri marvelous and wondrous. They had feet and tails like lions, but heads like crocodiles. Their appearance sparkled like rainbows, and their bodies measured 900 units. Their wings, 12 each, were like those of angels. They surrounded the sun, bearing heat and do according to God's command. Thus the sun turns and rises beneath the heavens, traveling its course under the earth with unceasing light. Those men then took me eastward and placed me at the sun's gates. There, the sun goes forth according to the regulation of the seasons, the monthly cycles, and the hours of the day and night. I saw 6 gates open, each gate measuring 61 stadia and a quarter. I measured them carefully and understood their scale. Through these gates the sun rises and journeys west, rising evenly throughout the months. It turns back through the 6 gates in succession with the seasons. This completes the full year with the return of the 4 seasons. Again, those men brought me west and showed me 6 great gates open, mirroring the ones in the east, where the sun sets one for each of the 365 days. Then the sun sinks to the western gates, dimming its light and brilliance beneath the earth, since its crown of shining is with the Lord in heaven. It is guarded by 400 angels. While the sun travels by will below the earth, resting 7 great hours in the night, it spends half its course beneath the earth. When it reaches the eastern threshold in the 8th hour of night, it brings its light and the shining crown. The sun then bursts forth, brighter than fire, at that moment. The elements called phoenixes and haledri break into song. Every bird flutters its wings, rejoicing in the light giver. They break into singing at the Lord's command, declaring, "The giver of light comes to illuminate the world." The morning God takes form the rays of the sun. The earth's sun emerges, absorbing brightness. Together, they light the entire face of the earth. They showed me the calculation of the sun's path and the gates it passes through. These are the great gates for calculating the year's hours. Thus, the sun is a vast creation whose cycle lasts 28 years before restarting. Then, those men showed me another wonder, the course and motion of the moon. 12 great gates, crowned from west to east, mark the paths by which the moon goes in and out at its customary times. It enters at the first gate toward the western places of the sun through the first gate with exactly 31 days, through the second gate with 31 days exactly, through the third gate with 30 days precisely, through the fourth gate with 30 days exactly, through the fifth gate with 31 days, and through the sixth gate with 31 days exactly. Through the seventh gate, it travels for 30 days precisely. The 8th gate holds 31 perfect days. The 9th gate, 31 days exactly. Through the 10th gate, the moon travels 30 days precisely. Through the 11th gate, 31 exact days, and through the 12th gate, 28 days exactly. It continues through the western gates in the same order and number as the eastern gates, completing the 365 and 1/4 days of the solar year. Meanwhile, the lunar year holds 354 days and lacks 12 days compared to the solar circle. These are the lunar epochs of the full year. Thus, the great circle consists of 532 years. The quarter day is omitted for 3 years, and the 4th year completes it exactly. Therefore, for 3 years, they are removed outside of heaven and are not added to the number of days, since they alter the year as time toward 2 new months, one toward completion and the other toward dominion. When the western gates are fulfilled, the moon returns to the eastern gates, to the lights and moves day and night along their heavenly circuit, slower than all circles and swifter than heavenly winds, spirits, elements, and flying angels. Each angel has 6 wings. And the moon has a 7-fold course over 19 years in the midst of the heavens. I saw armed soldiers serving the Lord with tambourines and organs. Their voices were unceasing and sweet, their singing beyond description and astonishing to the mind. The melodies of these angels were so wonderful and marvelous that I rejoiced just hearing them. Then the men took me up to the 5th heaven and placed me there. I saw countless soldiers, called the Gregory, with human appearances greater in size than the mightiest giants. Their faces were withered, and their mouths were locked in perpetual silence. There was no service happening in the 5th heaven. I asked the men who were with me, "Why are these ones so withered? Why do their faces look so melancholy? Why are their mouths silent? And why is there no service here in this heaven?" And they said to me, "These are the Gregory who, along with their prince Satanil, rejected the Lord of light. After them, those who now reside in great darkness are in the 2nd heaven. 3 of them descended to the earth from the Lord's throne, to the place called Owen, and broke their vows upon the shoulder of the hillman. They saw the daughters of men, how good they looked, and took them for wives, corrupting the earth with their deeds. In their lifetime, they created lawlessness and impurity, and from them came giants, marvelous beings of enormous size and great hostility. For these things, God judged them with a great judgment. They now mourn their brethren and will be punished on the Lord's great day." I said to the Gregory, "I saw your brethren, their works, and their immense torments. I prayed for them. But the Lord has condemned them to remain beneath the earth until heaven and earth as they now exist. It shall come to an end forever." Then I said to them, "Why do you wait, my brothers, and refrain from serving before the Lord's face? Why haven't you offered your service again, lest you provoke the Lord to deeper anger?" They listened to my words and spoke among the 4 heavenly ranks. And as I stood there with the 2 men, for a trumpet sounded together with a mighty voice, and the Gregory broke into song with one voice. Their song rose up before the Lord, pitiful, moving, and sincere. Then the men took me and carried me up to the 6th heaven. There I saw 7 bands of angels, bright and glorious, their faces shining more brilliantly than the sun's glimmer. Among them there was no difference in appearance, behavior, or manner of dress. These angels manage the orders of creation. They track the stars, observe the moon's changes, follow the sun's revolutions, and govern the world rightly. When they witness wrongdoing, they establish commandments and give instruction. With sweet, loud singing and praise in every form, they serve the Lord. These are the archangels, superior to all angels, who measure all life in both heaven and on earth. There are angels appointed over seasons and years, over rivers and seas, over fruits of the earth, and over every blade of grass that feeds living things. Others are scribes, recording the souls of men, their deeds and their lives before the face of the Lord. Among them were 6 phoenixes, 6 cherubim, and 6 six-winged beings. With one unified voice, they sang continually, and their music was beyond earthly comprehension. They rejoiced in the Lord's presence, singing near his footstool. The 2 men then lifted me from there and took me up into the 7th heaven. There I beheld an immense light and fiery legions of powerful archangels, bodiless forces, dominions, orders, governments, cherubim, seraphim, thrones, and many-eyed ones. There were 9 heavenly regiments, known as the ionic stations of light. I became greatly afraid and began to tremble with deep terror. But the men guided me onward and said, "Have courage, Enoch. Do not be afraid." And then they showed me the Lord from afar, seated on his exceedingly high throne. What lies in the 10th heaven? For there the Lord dwells. In the Hebrew tongue, he is called Arut. All the heavenly hosts come and stand upon 10 steps, according to their rank. They bow before the Lord and return to their stations in joy and delight, singing songs within the endless light, their voices small and tender, gloriously serving him. Surrounding the throne stand the cherubim and seraphim, the six-winged, many-eyed beings. They do not depart. They remain ever before the Lord's face, fulfilling his will. They cover his entire throne and sing with gentle voices before him. Holy, 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 Lord, ruler of the Sabbath. Heaven and earth are full of your glory. When I witnessed all these things, the men with me said, Enoch, this is as far as we are permitted to go with you. Then they left, and I saw them no more. I was alone at the edge of the seventh heaven. Fear overcame me, and I fell on my face, saying to myself, Woe is me, what has happened to me? Then the Lord sent one of his glorious ones, the Archangel Gabriel. He said to me, Have courage, Enoch. Do not be afraid. Rise and come before the face of the Lord into eternity. I responded in my heart, My Lord, terror and trembling have taken my soul. I called for the men who brought me here, for I trusted in them, and it was with them I intended to approach the Lord. But Gabriel lifted me like a leaf in the wind and placed me before the Lord's face. I then saw the eighth heaven, called Musaloth in the Hebrew tongue, the changer of seasons of drought and rain, and home to the 12 constellations in the circle of the firmament. Above the seventh heaven, I also saw the ninth heaven, named Kukavim, where the celestial homes of the 12 constellations are found. Finally, I arrive at the 10th and highest heaven, called Erevoth. There I saw the appearance of the Lord's face glowing like iron in fire, radiating sparks and burning intensely, and yet his face is ineffable, marvelous, terrible beyond words. Who am I to describe the Lord's unspeakable being and his extraordinary face? I cannot begin to recount his countless commands or the many voices surrounding him. The Lord's throne was vast, not made by hands, surrounded by troops of cherubim and seraphim. Their singing was unending, his beauty immutable. Who could declare the greatness of his glory? I fell face down and worshipped the Lord, and the Lord spoke with his lips, saying, Have courage. Enoch, do not fear. Rise and stand before my face for eternity. Then the Archangel Michael lifted me and led me forward. The Lord turned to his servants and tested them, saying, Let Enoch stand before my face forever. And the glorious ones bowed to the Lord and replied, Let it be as you have spoken. Then the Lord said to Michael, Take Enoch. Remove his earthly garments and anoint him with my holy ointment. Clothe him in the garments of my glory. Michael did as commanded. He anointed and clothed me. The ointment glowed brighter than great light. Its scent was soft, like sweet dew, and it shone like sunlight. I looked at myself and saw that I was like one of his glorious ones. Then the Lord summoned an archangel named Provuel, whose wisdom and knowledge surpassed the others, the scribe of all the Lord's deeds. The Lord said to Provuel, Bring up the books from my storehouses. Take a reed of swift writing and hand them to Enoch. Give him the choicest, most comforting books from your hand. And Provuel showed me all the workings of heaven, earth, and sea, every element, their pots and cycles, the sound of thunder, the movement of sun and moon, the changes of stars, seasons, years, days, and hours. He revealed to me the rising winds, the number of angels, the formation of their songs, and all things of humanity, the language of every song, life itself, the commandments, instructions, sweet songs, and all things worthy to be known. And Provuel said, Write down everything I have told you. So I sat and wrote about all human souls, each one born, and their places prepared from eternity. For all souls were created before the world's foundation, in pairs, over 30 days and 30 nights. I recorded everything exactly and wrote 366 books. Then the Lord called me, saying, Enoch, sit at my left side with Gabriel. I bowed before him. The Lord spoke again, Enoch, my beloved. All that you see and all that is complete I reveal to you. Even before the beginning, I created all from nothing, visible from the invisible, and physical from the unseen. Listen, Enoch, and receive my words. I have not revealed my secrets to the angels. I did not disclose their origins, nor my eternal kingdom, nor the mystery of my creation until now. For before all that is visible, I alone moved through the invisible realms, like the sun traveling from east to west and back again. But unlike the sun, I found no rest. For I was creating everything. I conceived the idea to lay foundations and bring forth visible creation, and so Enoch's journey through the 10 heavens came to its end. From the radiant realms of light and glory to the prisons of fallen angels, from the starry storehouses to the very throne of God, Enoch beheld mysteries beyond human understanding. He saw divine order, coming judgment, and the eternal reward of the righteous, and through it all, one truth stood clear: God reigns supreme over heaven and earth. Enoch was chosen to see and record these revelations not for himself alone, but for every generation a message of warning, of hope, and of eternal truth. Now the question remains, what will we do with this knowledge? Will we pursue righteousness and prepare our hearts for God's kingdom, or will we turn away, ignoring the sacred mysteries revealed? The Book of Enoch offers a glimpse of God's majesty, His justice, and His eternal plan. May we walk in faith and seek the Lord, so that when our time comes, we too may stand before His throne, clothed in glory just as Enoch was. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Enoch's 10 heavens. If this video brought you insight, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more biblical mysteries unveiled. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Shalom.